Welcome to another episode of SUCFS. I'm your host, Mike Crockett. And if you've been watching our channel, you've noticed over the last few weeks we've had a few short films. Well, the reason for this is, as I've talked about before in previous videos, we had a guerrilla filmmaking challenge here in southern Utah. It was called, what was it?
Horror Fest.
Horror Fest 15.
16.
It's 15. Horror Fest 15, Attack of the Clown.
In 2016. Got it. Yeah.
Yes. And so what that meant was a bunch of filmmakers here in southern Utah got together and made short 6-minute or less films for this challenge. And there was a theme this year, obviously being called Attack of the Clowns. It was clowns. And there had to be at least one spoken line, and that line had to be, "The circus is in town." You could have any other dialogue you want, but that line has to be spoken. And there has to be either a red ball or a red balloon in the film. And so I have with me here Aaron Eames. Aaron is one of the directors that actually submitted an entry into Horror Fest 15, Attack of the Clowns, as am I. If you saw Undercover Clown, that was my entry into Horror Fest. Aaron is the writer and director of Clown Calling. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So, how did you get into, or how did you get involved in this Horror Fest this year?
Well, like we figured out, this is the 15th one. I know the guy who puts them on. His name's Adam Mast. He's really big. He's kind of a pusher of Southern Utah filming community. And for a couple years I've been wanting to enter, and this year I just jumped in. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just got to bite the bullet and try. I felt overwhelmed. Fortunately, I had you to help me film and kind of show me the ropes on a lot of the details, but I just decided to jump in there and get started. Well,
good. So if you haven't yet seen Clown Calling, now would be a good time to go watch that before you continue watching this video. But if you look in the credits, you'll see my name a couple of times. I was actually the DP and the editor for Aaron's film. So this was your first film, wasn't it? Your first short film that you've directed.
First time directing a short film. That's right. I've been writing for quite a while now, but first directing time. Yeah.
So you do a lot of writing. What kind of things do you write?
Mostly just scripts, just shorts or features that go into the drawer. You know, just trying to get good at it.
Well, good. So what would you say was your biggest takeaway from this experience of being your first direction in a film?
There were a number of them. You know, just for one, there's time management that I think I learned a lot about. They say your properly formatted page is 1 minute of story time, right? But that's an average over like a feature. So really pay attention to what you're putting there on the page and how long that's gonna take. I mean, we were lucky that they extended it to 6 minutes. We had so much that we'd filmed. Another one is just, I storyboarded it out. First time, just stick figures. I'm a very poor artist, but I definitely recommend that. It keeps you from really floundering when you're there on the set and you're not really sure how to do it. You've got something to fall back on.
It lets you go in with a plan.
Yeah, exactly. There were a couple scenes where we hadn't done that, and I mean, you really helped me out there. If you hadn't been there, if I'd been the one behind the camera, I think it would have taken twice as long for those scenes. So I think those are the two main things I took out of this.
Well, cool. So there were a number of guys that helped us with this, other than myself, guys that really had never been involved in film at all prior to this. How did you get them involved?
Well, they were just friends, so I conned them into coming over. You know, I told them it'd only take a couple hours, which I probably even knew at the time was a lie, but it ended up taking so much longer than that. But you don't need anybody who has experience. You know, you can use somebody, you need somebody to hold a boom, you need somebody to help out with behind the scenes things. So even just friends who want to be involved and don't have any expertise are immensely valuable on set to help you get things moving.
Cool. How did you come up with this story? What prompted you to write this script?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, the theme was clowns for this horror fest, and the idea kind of started because my wife and I wanted some video of our son at this age, so we decided to write him in, and we're not really big on horror, so we decided to take it another direction, and from there it just kind of grew into the idea that you see in clown calling.
Now, your wife was, so your son, your actual son was the
actual son. Logan is the boy, and my wife is the mom. They don't really have names in it.
Right.
And then a buddy of mine who also helped out with a lot of technical aspects ended up being the father. And I cast him so that I could be, I didn't want to have to act and direct at the same time, so I was fortunate enough to find a friend who would do it.
Cool. Yeah, I noticed on set that you and your wife seem to work very well together. There was like if it was me and my wife, there probably would have been a lot of like fist fights and arguments and stuff. But
yeah, it's called filming with a whole crew in the room. You have to be on your best behavior.
Right.
So if you have to work with a spouse, just pack in other people there. You'll both behave. So that's how it works.
Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming out and joining us for this interview.
Oh, yeah.
Here on the blue futon, which I think is what I'm actually going to call
it's
it
perfect.
from now
it's
on
comfy.
anytime I have a guest here with me. So I appreciate you coming out here. And remember to subscribe because there are more short films coming in the future. Tiebreak is on its way. It's still in the hands of the composer. We have a new composer that's writing the score for this one this time. So as soon as he's done with the music, it will be released to the world for your eyes to see and for your ears to hear. So be sure and subscribe. And until next time, remember to plan your shoot and shoot your plan.